Hey YouTube family, welcome back. Steve here, V-Twin Racing Channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about rubber mounted Sportsters and why you should not race one of these things. So to state the obvious, they're rubber mounted, right? The cases, they don't have a trap door in the transmission like the old ones. So yes, it's a inconvenience if you have to service the transmission. You got to tear the engine completely down, whereas I don't know how far back it goes, but let's say 91 to 03s, you pull the clutch and the motor sprocket and you can get to the transmission. You don't even have to take the pulley off. Fifth gear stays in the cases, comes out, right? So that's a given. So that's an inconvenience. If you mess up your transmission, you have to disassemble your entire engine. Now, that's what we would call an inconvenience. The number two reason is if any of you have ever tried to take an engine off of a rubber mounted Sportster, oh boy. So this is what's left of my swing arm pivot shaft, okay? It has a bolt, and let me grab this. That bolts that goes in either side of it, right? Okay, so I finally caught a video on YouTube the other day. I believe it's the 2014 and up. Changed it to where it's one single bolt going through the whole thing with a nut on the other side, just like the front. But on this 07, it's two opposing bolts. Now what happened was the one on the right side of the bike, zip, came right on out. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but about 5-6 months ago, when I first got the turbo bike, and I'm not calling it that, it's a Pro Comp bike. When I first got this bike, I bought some solid mounts for it. Well, back then I knew I couldn't get this bolt out because it wouldn't come out. It just rotated. This thing was spinning in the motor, and it's got two little flats on it. If you can see them there, two little flats, and basically there's a little sheet metal. I don't even know where it's at right now. Ah, here it is. It's got this little sheet metal dude right here that goes over it to capture it in the engine, and it's got two little tangs, and if you look you can see where they kind of smeared, and it wouldn't hold. And the reason it wouldn't hold is because it has three tiny little Torx screws that are maybe 1/4 20s. The heads broke off of two of them, so this thing went slack, and it let that thing rotate in there instead of keeping it locked in place. So, my first genius idea was to try to drill this thing out. Now this measures 20.5 millimeters. So that's what I was trying to go in here with. Well, after 2 days of pushing on this drill, bruising my chest, hurting myself, trying to drill through this thing, I scoured and scoured and scoured YouTube, and I finally found a point blank, to the point, simple video. And basically, you drill, okay, on the right hand side, you can get to the rubber mount up, down through by the engine right here. Okay, so I drilled through the shaft, and I only went halfway through it. And the first thing I did was put a punch in there, okay? And I made a mistake, punch being hardened. When I hit it with the impact, it just sheared the punch off and broke it. So I had to rotate it and drill a second hole, and I stuck a Phillips screwdriver in it and got it lodged up against the motor real tight so it wouldn't slap. And I hit it with the gun, and the bolt came right out. Now, the reason I had to cut this off with a cutoff wheel was because a piece of that punch was stuck inside the motor mount, and I couldn't get it off, so I had to cut it off to get it out of the engine. So I don't know what lessons to be learned there. I think that the improvements to the engine over the years, the nice thing about this one is I'm putting 600 lift cams in this thing without doing any grinding on the cases whatsoever, okay? All these cams clear, I verified it. The only thing I have a problem with are 2 and 3, the lobe is making contact with this crankshaft, or excuse me, the flywheel bearing race, which you do not grind that race. You grind the lobe on the cam to put a little bevel on the edge of it. You guys can see that stuff on Hammered Performance's YouTube videos. They explain how to do that. But, so the third problem with these, the cases are exceptionally heavier than the early ones. The frame is completely loaded with cast iron. I'm gonna call them fitments here, okay? So all this right here is a casting. Okay, let me readjust the tripod here, see if I can get y'all down here closer. All right, where this engine locates right here, all this right through here is a casting that's welded to the frame. Same on the other side. Okay, same on the front right here. All these are castings. Very heavy stuff, okay? A lot heavier than the earlier models. And the reason that I took this engine out, okay, so I ordered a high compression 1275 kit. I sent my heads to Hammer, the BFH head service. So it's 120 plus horsepower package, and I'm putting a 50 horse shot of nitrous on this thing. So there's nothing wrong with these flywheels. Okay, they're in good condition, but they're completely stock. And maybe luck was on the previous owner's side putting a turbo on this thing, but my luck, it would throw a rod through the cases. That's just how it is. So I got to take this, I'm going to break this open. If you guys want to see a video on that, that's fine. I'll split the cases, pull the flywheels out. I'm going to box them up. I already got my box from Dark Horse. You can order a box from them. They'll ship it to you. It was 51 bucks, but it's a special made box to put your flywheels in so they're secure and they don't get any shipping damage. You go on their website, you print off a work order form and you fill out what you want done. I'm going with the Trude, the blueprint, the balance, and the welded crank pin with a set of Carrillo H-beam rods. So I've bought these before. These guys are wonderful to do business with. 10 to 15 business days usually it takes for them to get your stuff done. So yeah, 2 of those 3 bolts were broke off in the cases, so I had to get those 2 bolts out. I'm probably gonna have to go to the dealership. I did order this dude here to replace what I cut and butchered and drilled up. I got this on eBay for like 80 bucks. Comes with 2 new bolts, a new pivot. It also comes with 2 new bearings for the swing arm, because there are bearings in the swing arm. Bearings, snap rings, all that stuff. I think it was 80 some dollars on eBay. I'm gonna replace all that. Now that I've got the engine out, I'm going to be able to install the solid mounts in the back, so the engine will be solid mounted. That'll be a plus. I won't be squirming around. But it's very much in disarray right now. Like I said, guys, if you already have a rubber mounted bike, I'm not telling you to get rid of it. I'm not telling you not to race it. I'm just telling you these are good reasons why you shouldn't. And if you don't have a bike at all and you want to get into racing, stay away from the rubber mounted Sportsters, unless you absolutely have to have a fuel injected bike, because they're heavier, the frames are heavier, the cases are heavier, they're a lot harder, more difficult to work on. And again, in the event of a transmission failure, you're tearing your engine all the way down. There's no getting around it. You have to split the cases. They do take some different specialty tools than, say, the older ones. I think I'm gonna be able to get by without any of that stuff. I've got a little shop press. I can do most of this stuff myself. So, but yeah, I've got a ton of work to do, probably a week or two away from my top end coming in, but I'm shipping these flywheels probably Wednesday. It'll take about a week to get there. They'll be there a couple weeks, take a week to get back. So it'll be a month before I get the flywheels back once I ship them out. I've got a lot of little things I need to get done, and I'm trying to get this bike back together for the September round of the All Harley World Shootout for the Pro Comp Outlaw class. And I got a lot of moving parts here I got to get done before then. So it's mainly a waiting game, but I've got a ton of work to do while I'm waiting. I have to cut this cover down, this one that I got for this engine to run a standalone on it. I haven't purchased an ignition system yet. I got to purchase the Dyna 2000i and the single fire coil, and I also have to purchase a Pingle petcock. I wanted to be certain. I mocked everything up. I wanted to be certain how I wanted the ports to come out. I'm going to go with the ones that come up straight down. Excuse me. I also have to order a purge valve for the nitrous system, but I think I have everything else I need. I just got a lot of work to do other than to purchase those two things, and then obviously my engine work, or my get my flywheels done. And like I said, I should be getting that top end kit back from Hammer here. I don't know, maybe a week or so. Should be seeing that. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to know what to expect on some of these. I'm not saying every rubber mount out there is going to be like this, but that's the one right there that I drilled the hole through. Okay, on the right side you can see it looking down through the engine, and I drilled through it, drilled into the shaft. It's got a steel backing plate on it, and that punch sticking out is what got stuck. I had to cut it off to get the shaft out of the engine. So it's a real pain in the neck. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I spent the better part of Saturday and Sunday both getting this engine off this bike, and the worst part is I knew it was coming at some point. I was advised when I bought the bike that it did have a stock bottom end in it, so I knew that going in. It wasn't a surprise. I already knew it had a stock bottom end in it. Some other advice I could offer y'all. It's better to build a bike than it is to buy one, because I purchased this bike running with a turbo on it. And it's got a lot of good parts, okay? It's got nice sport bike wheels, good front end, a nice chrome ollie arm. Had that turbo system on it. I don't know that there's anything wrong with that system other than I don't know how to use it. I paid $10,000 for that bike turnkey running. Over the course of 3 or 4 months, I piddled around and spent a couple $1,000s doing other things to the bike. And so for me to change it to what I know and how I want it, you know, I'm going to be over $20,000 in this bike. So build your own bike, get help, get advice if you're mechanically inclined, do your research. It's better to build one than it is to buy somebody else's stuff. It's just, too many things, man. Too many things you run into that I'm pretty particular about some things. Some things I'll not worry so much about, but other things I'm really particular about, wiring being one of them, electrical connections, plumbing, mounting of things. I'm just real particular. So lesson I learned from this bike is to build them, not buy them. Any more bikes that I decide to have moving forward, besides the two I have now, I will be building from scratch, because it's just too much to pay all that money for a bike. And I'm not saying there's not good bikes out there, but understand this: doesn't matter how nice it is, if you buy a motorcycle that's completed by someone else, it's built to their standards or their opinion of what's right and wrong, and therein lies the problem, because you may find stuff that you don't agree with, that you don't like, you want to change. I'm that guy. I'm guilty, so I lesson learned. I'm not going to buy another one turnkey from somebody else. I'm going to, if I want any more bikes, and I do want, I want a bagger, but I'm actually getting really good with these Sportsters, so I think I'm just going to stick with them. And this bike right here will do the Pro Comp Outlaw class at All Harley World Shootout. Once this is finished, I am going to start on a twin cam headed 90-inch motor for the OG. Going to change the frame on it to a all tubular, like a 84 to 94 tubular frame. Get rid of that 97 frame because it has welded cast fitments in it as well. To lighten that up, bunch of ceramic bearings. I've already talked to the guy that builds those fast motors for non-bagger and hot street, and I'm going to build an engine for that bike. So once that's done, that'll be a heads-up only bike as well. So I'm going to need something to bracket race, and might have to build another Sportster for that. I don't know, just a simple bracket bike. But I want to pick back up on the giveaway bike, guys. I need y'all to help me out, garner some interest in that deal. Like I said previously, there's a subscriber number I want to hit before we actually start that contest. But somebody's going to get a free turnkey bracket race Sportster out of the deal for free. So I think it's all I got today. I want to say thank you guys for watching. Thanks for your support. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comments, man. I want to hear from you, okay? Let me know. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Have a good day.